What's up, YouTube? It is Jeff Tuffner here on the Glorious Podcast, coming to you with my Smackdown Live review, the September 5th edition, and I really liked Smackdown tonight. I don't know why I liked it so much. I don't know if maybe it was not as good as I thought it was, but I really liked Smackdown tonight. I'm just going to say that right away and get that out of the way. I don't know why, but I just really liked it. There was specifically what they're doing with Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens. I like that a lot. I'm going to get more in-depth into that later in this show here, but I really like what they're doing with them. And then just some of the stuff, I mean, look at all the stuff. They did something that, Raw fails at consistently, and that is building up a show to where you want to watch again next week, giving reason to watch again next week, and they actually did that tonight. We have not one, not two, but 3 title matches slated for next week's SmackDown Live in Las Vegas. So, I mean, we got the U.S. title, the women's title, and the tag team titles all on the line next week. I think they did this once back in December, I think, where there was 3 title matches, and there were the only 3 title matches on the show as a whole. So, I mean, I'm really looking forward to SmackDown last week, and I really enjoyed SmackDown tonight. I mean, I probably liked it a lot because Raw, if you watched my Raw review, you probably heard I just didn't give a shit about what happened on Raw last night. I thought Raw was just awful, but I really like SmackDown tonight, though. I'm just gonna let's get into it, though. Let's get into it and break it down here and see why I enjoyed it so much. I actually missed about the first 5 minutes of the show, so I went back and kind of skimmed through that real quick. We obviously got Corey Graves on SmackDown now, so that's good. He obviously improves the show in a way. They open the show with a little promo or / interview or whatever backstage with Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura hyping up their big match for the main event to determine the new number 1 contender. We'll talk about that match a little bit later. Let's get to the beginning, though. They have Carmella and James Ellsworth in the ring, and then Kevin Owens interrupts them. Kevin Owens obviously has been feuding with Shane McMahon, and they're setting up a match, and they continue that tonight, and what they did tonight was just amazing. They have me 100% invested in it. I've been saying for weeks now that I'm really invested in what they're going to do with Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens. Probably going to lead to a match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view inside the Hell in a Cell, which is just going to be insanely good, and I really like the build. I think this match might be so good that it should main event the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view right now. I feel like the build is going to be amazing for this match. Based on what I saw so far, it just feels like it's just going to get better and better and better. I mean, to the point where we are going to see Vince McMahon on SmackDown next week. It has been years since Vince McMahon has been on SmackDown. The last time Vince McMahon was on SmackDown, I don't even think I was watching WWE yet. I think it was back in 2009 or whatever, and I didn't start watching until 2010. So I don't even think I was watching the last time Vince was on SmackDown. I could be wrong, though. He could have appeared once over the last few years or whatever, but I do not think so. So this is huge, but obviously, there's a lot that happened. They really centered the show around this, the Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, but they had a shoot to start the show. I mean, that was great. They were going right at each other. Kevin was going right at Shane's family, getting into that, and then that set Shane off. Shane took out KO. They got into a brawl. Security had to come out. Daniel Bryan came out. They broke it up, which ended up leading to Shane getting suspended indefinitely. And then Kevin, he says he's going to be, suing WWE. He's going to be suing the entire McMahon family. It was just, I love how they bring, another thing I love about it, I love how they're bringing the entire McMahon family into it. I feel like once you do that, that just immediately elevates the feud to make it much more interesting, and a lot of more people will get invested into it when you bring the entire McMahon family into it. I mean, just look at the past when they've done that with, bringing the entire Vince McMahon, Randy Orton, they did it, I think it was 2009 or whatever. I remember, I wasn't watching yet, but I remember watching clips and stuff when they had the whole angle with him beginning of 2009, I think it was. You know what I mean? And then there's countless other times that they've done that. So it just works. It gets people into it, and I really like it. And I love what I've seen so far. And we still have almost a whole month until the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. So they have a ton of time to really hype this thing up. You know what I mean? And it's just been just to think that there's still a month left and what they've already done. I mean, it just makes me want to tune in next week to see what's going to happen. I mean, they even teased at the end of the show there. Kevin Owens is basically saying he's going to make it his show next week. He's going to, pretty much, wreck the show next week, basically, is what he said at the end of the SmackDown tonight. So really, like, it just makes me think, like, how we have 3 title matches next week. So what is Kevin Owens gonna do? Just destroy the show? I could see him doing something like that, where he just like comes out and destroys everything, wrecks up everything, gets involved in like every match or whatever. Because remember, Shane McMahon's suspended now, so he can't, he's not there to stop him. So, and then we see Vince next week, like I said, at the end of the show. That gets announced as well. That was part of that. So they really went out on a high note. I didn't expect them to do that. I thought it was just going to be, end of the main event, and then, that was it. But then they surprised us. Big announcement to end the show. So to get people, there's no reason. Like, if you just have to want to tune into SmackDown next week. There's so much happening. 3 title matches. Vince McMahon makes his return to SmackDown. And then the stuff they're doing with Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon, just that whole build, it's just like, how could you not want to tune into SmackDown next week? Like, I can't wait for SmackDown next week. To be honest, it's just looking great right now for, like, the writing, A+ writing on SmackDown tonight. Like, I just don't know, where'd this come from? Did they, like, decide to get those writers that were on SmackDown, that they, like, moved to Raw, back at, like, the Superstar Shakeup? Did they, like, just bring them back? And then, like, this is what they do? Because that's what it felt like. It felt like the SmackDown of, like, the old again. The one we saw, like, last December, early 2017. That's what it felt like tonight. And it feels like they're building it up again to a big show next week. So that's how they open the show. I love the opening of the show. So that, they bring up everyone. They even bring up Triple H, too. So that was good. We get Carmella versus Natalya in a, quick little match. Nothing crazy there. Natalya picks up the win. James Ellsworth gets involved. Obviously, this leads to, well, not obviously, I should say, surprisingly, it leads to Carmella turning on James Ellsworth. I did not see this coming. This came completely out of left field here. Why did they break them up all of a sudden? That was just weird. It's like, it just didn't seem like, you think they would, like, build up to it or something, where it would eventually boil over and then, Carmella would turn on him. But it just happened out of nowhere. Like, one thing happened, James cost her the match, and then, that's it. And that led to, like, an awkward backstage segment where she ends up kissing him and then slaps him. I don't know what they're doing there, why they even broke him up, and then it led to that backstage segment. I don't know. Will be very interesting to see where that angle goes in the next coming weeks. But Natalya versus Naomi next week for the women's title. It's Naomi using a rematch from SummerSlam. I don't expect to see a title change, but, the way they're building up next week's show, don't rule out Carmella maybe cashing in next week to win the title. It seems like they're really, making it a big show next week, so I wouldn't rule that out. We have Dolph Ziggler finally we get to see Dolph Ziggler, his re-debut that everybody was excited for. He tries to impersonate a bunch of other WWE superstars. What are they doing with Dolph Ziggler? I don't know where this is going to go. Is he just going to be a comedy act now? I feel like that's what he's going to be, the next comedy act. That's what it felt like tonight. Like, they're just going to do this every week, and he's going to impersonate someone else different every week on SmackDown. I feel like that's what they're going to do with Dolph Ziggler now. I don't know. That's stupid. If I'm Ziggler, I'd honestly just get out of WWE, go to New Japan, because it would work out perfect for him over there. I feel like there's nothing left for him to really do in WWE. Unless they completely change his character. But, whatever they're doing now is just, I don't know. That didn't make sense. So, that was one of the few things about tonight's show I didn't care for. But majority of the things I liked, and that's why I thought the show was good. Aiden English versus Sami Zayn. Aiden English picks up the win. I don't know what that was about. And then Sami chases him down the ramp. Don't know what they're doing there. Sami Zayn is buried. Aiden English has won a few matches in the past weeks. I could be wrong, but I think he's won, like, a couple of matches. He's on, like, a little bit of a winning streak. I could be wrong, though. But I don't know. They, like, actually trying to build up Aiden English. Remember when the Vaudevillains broke up, everybody was like, there was a rumor that Aiden English was going to get a big singles push, and then that went nowhere. But maybe they're giving them that now. I don't know. If anybody deserves a singles push, it's Sami Zayn. I don't know why they're not giving him one. I don't even want to complain about it, because I do every week, and it just gets boring after a while of just saying the same thing over and over again. Like, he deserves better, do something with him, and then just continue to do nothing. What else happens? They announced the New Day and the Usos tag team title match next week in a street fight, so that will be interesting. A street fight obviously adds something to it, just in a regular match. I wanted to see a stipulation added to their match at SummerSlam, but that didn't happen. But nonetheless, that match at SummerSlam, even though it was on the pre-show, pretty good match. So that was good. Then we get Baron Corbin versus Ty Dillinger. Now, I think WWE's done it. They've successfully done it. Congratulations, WWE. You've completely buried Ty Dillinger to the point where he doesn't even get a crowd reaction anymore. What a disgrace. We remember when Ty showed up at the Royal Rumble, the place popped. The night after, 2 nights after WrestleMania, the place went nuts. And then they kind of, everybody was still behind him, and then they kind of just phased him out for a while there. And now all of a sudden, they've decided to throw him back on TV, but now he's getting no reaction in the past weeks. It's like, there you go, WWE. You failed there. But maybe not. I don't know. I mean, he lost the match tonight. Corbin gets a cheap victory, poked him in the eye or whatever. But we do find out that we're going to get Ty Dillinger versus AJ Styles for the U.S. title next week. Now, they had a match last week, 2 weeks ago. I forget. AJ and Ty did, and it was not even a minute long. So I went off on that in my review. I was just these two could put on a great match, nice 15-minute match. You know what I mean, just to make the show about it better, and then they just did nothing with it. So I was really pissed about that, but it looks like maybe they'll actually give us that match we're looking for next week. I don't think Dillinger's going to win the title because it appears they're really building up a Corbin-Styles feud for Hell in a Cell for the U.S. title. But nonetheless, I'm expecting a great match between Ty Dillinger and AJ Styles next week on SmackDown. What else happened? We had the main event. Randy Orton, Shinsuke Nakamura, first time ever match. I wasn't too excited for this match, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't excited for this compared to as much as excited I was for John Cena versus Shinsuke Nakamura a few weeks ago or months ago. I don't remember how long ago that was. About a month ago, I think. But I was much more excited for that than I was for this. But nonetheless, this was an okay match. No surprises really. I mean, I expected Shinsuke Nakamura to go over. I didn't do you really think they were going to put Randy Orton in the, give him the win and then have him versus Jinder again after we just suffered through 3.5 months plus maybe of that Randy Orton Jinder feud, which was just awful. That feud was just, I thank God it's over. I'm so happy they didn't go back to it surprisingly or something. But it wasn't much of a surprise to see Nakamura pick up the win, but it was a good match. Good match for, a first time match. One of Randy Orton's better matches. I feel like his matches have kind of been not as good as normal, but this was actually one of his better matches lately. So that was good. Main event. So the main event overall was good. So yeah, we get a bunch of announcements regarding next week. We get a good Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon promo to start the show. They were tearing each other apart. We find out a bunch, like I've said, and I just thought it was just a good, solid show. And I think next week might be one of the best SmackDowns ever. We didn't see Breeze Dango tonight. I just realized that. I was just thinking, what didn't happen tonight? We did not see a Breeze Dango, no Fashion Files or anything tonight. But I'm sure they'll be back next week with some Vegas-themed, Fashion Files or whatever. So that would be cool to look forward to. So you just add that to the long list of things to look forward to on next week's SmackDown. I mean, 2 hours next week. It's going to be almost a 2 hours of must-watch 2 hours. You really can't miss anything. That's what it seems like they're leading up to next week. Alright, so that's about it, guys, in regards to SmackDown. I thought the show was amazing. Let me know what you guys thought of the show in the comment section below. Go follow me all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All those links are going to be listed in the description, as always. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow right here on the Glorious Podcast for some news videos. I don't know when, but probably in the afternoon around that time.